Voice is clear. My voice is audible. Is my voice is audible? So today we are going to see what we are going to learn in AWS Solutions Architect course. So AWS training contents. First one is Amazon EC2. So EC2 means Elastic Compute Cloud. So introduction to Amazon EC2, EC2 benefits, use cases, features of EC2, what are the EC2 instance types. So remember one point, an EC2 is nothing but a operating system. So for example, you have a laptop, top of your laptop you install Windows. So physically we are calling as a operating system, that is physical OS. So in cloud environment, whatever the operating system you want to use, you have to launch that. So that is a predefined VM. So that is called technically instance. So launching instance is nothing but a powering on your operating system, whether it is Linux servers or Windows servers, whatever it may be. So how to launch the EC2 instances? What are the benefits of EC2 instances? So when we are going to use EC2 instances, what are the features? What are the different instance types? Instance types means like we have different models are there. So Lenovo laptop, HP laptop, or something. So many hardware vendors are there like that. In cloud also, EC2 instances have background some separate hardwares. Depending upon your requirement, you have to launch that type of instance. So these things we are going to discuss in depth in our classes. Next to Amazon EBS. So Elastic Block Store. For example, you have a laptop. In your laptop, you have a storage device is there. So the storage device is nothing but a hard disk. So that is by default when you buy a laptop, it is a raw device. RAW may be 500 GB or 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte. It is a raw device. What you are doing while you are installing Windows, you are creating some partitions there. So you are creating 200 GB, you are installing OS. Remaining space, you can create 200 GB, 100 GB, whatever it may be. You can do the partitions. So those partitions means you are dividing the hard disk into number of partitions as your wish. That is nothing but a elastic block store we are calling in cloud environment. Whatever the disk space is there, so you can do partitions as your wish. That is a block level device. So EBS is a block level storage, means raw device. So by default, when you launch the instance, this EBS volume will come by default because every operating system require a hard disk. Without a hard disk, you cannot install OS. So by default, Linux instance, 8 GB of the space will come. If it is the Windows Server instance, 20 GB, 30 GB space will come. That is the root volume, means operating system disk. So apart from that, so you can also assign additional storage for managing your databases and applications. So here we are going to discuss, so what is the EBS volumes? What are the types of EBS volumes? What are the benefits of EBS volumes? And what are the size and capacity? So how much size, how much capacity you can utilize of UBS volumes? So how to take the snapshots of volumes? What are the features of EBS volumes? So everything, so we are going to discuss here. For example, you have a laptop, internally you have a disk, maybe 1 terabyte disk. So the 1 terabyte space is full. You need some more space. What you have to do? You have to buy one external hard disk. You have to connect to your laptop. Then whatever the additional data is there, you can store. Like when you are working on cloud environment, whenever your instance volumes are going to be full with data, you need some more volumes. So add a cloud as a cloud administrator, you can create the additional volumes. You can attach the volumes to the particular instances. So this type of administration tasks we have to do, how to create new volumes, how to attach the volumes to instances, how to detach the volumes, how to take the snapshots, means like backups. Whenever your instance level, if you lost your data, so I can have one backup. As a cloud administrator, I can take the backup of your EBS volumes. So everything here we are going to discuss EBS snapshots. Then elastic IP address. So whatever the public IP assigned by AWS is not permanent. Every time it will change, so that we can give permanent IP. It is called elastic IP address. For example, so my laptop having one public IP, because I am connecting to internet, automatically they will assign one IP address to my system. Maybe every time the IP address may be changed. But I can connect internet because routing protocols already router is there. But in real times, when you launch one web server, so by default, Amazon people will give one IP address to you, public IP, to access your websites. But every time that public IP is going to be changed. So every time your web server IP address is going to be changed, so your end users, your customers, they cannot access your website, because every day you have to update. This is my IP address today. This is my IP address today. This is my IP address today. So we cannot give answer to a number of customers. That is the reason what you have to do. You have to configure an elastic IP address. So elastic IP address is nothing but a permanent IP address. That is nothing but a static IP address. For example, I can go to the my computer here, open networking and sharing center, change adapter settings, go to Ethernet, properties. So here I given an IP address. So this is permanent 192.168.0.20 I assigned. But every time my laptop IP address will change, I cannot communicate some other network. So I can keep one public permanent IP. Like in cloud environment, you have to assign one permanent IP address to your instance, but this is chargeable. Remember, this is chargeable. So just to practice purpose, just to have to set up one permanent IP, we can allocate to our instance. Then by using that IP, our website is working or not. Just you have to check. Then we have to remove it, because if you keep it like that without removing, so that is chargeable. So how to assign elastic IP address? We are going to discuss in this class. Next to AWS identity and access management. So introduction to AWS identity and access management. What are the IAM features? What is multi-factor authentication? What is virtual multi-factor authentications? Users security credentials, temporary security credentials, manage permissions and policies, manage users and use cases, IAM groups. For example, simply I will explain you. So we are having, for example, I am telling you, so I have a computer, go to my computer, open C drive, here go to users folder. So there is a user Sahasra, for example. This is a normal user account. So this normal user, if having administrator privileges, he can do anything. So by default, normal users don't have the administrator privileges. Any server you can take, Windows servers or Linux servers. So Windows server administrator account name is administrator. Linux server administrator account name is root. So if you log in as administrator, you can perform any task on the server. So as a Linux administrator, as a Windows administrator, you can create the normal users. When the normal users log into the server, they can't do any administration tasks. So whatever the work you given, those only they can work. They cannot change date and time of your computer. They cannot change your IP addresses. They cannot change your computer name. So administration tasks they cannot do. But as a administrator, you can assign some privileges, administrator privileges to the users. So in real times, if you join as a cloud administrator, directly they will not give the root access to you to log into AWS management console. They will create one normal user account by using your name. So they can assign some privileges. He can use only EC2 instances. Some other user I can go to give, he can manage Elastic Block Store. So like that, so they will give only administrator privileges. So as a cloud administrator, how to give the administration privileges to normal users, we are going to learn in IAM class, AWS Identity and Access Management. So here, as a root login to the AWS Management Console, you can create the normal user accounts. The privileges you can attach to the normal users. So they can log into their IAM account. Here you can see. Go to AWS Management Console. So log back in. See here, sign in as a root user. Every day I can log in as a root user. Now see below here, IAM user is there. So IAM user, so users within an account that perform daily tasks. So root account owner that perform tasks requiring unrestricted access. So root user can have unrestricted accesses. IAM user can have whatever the privileges you given to him, those privileges only he can give. So other accesses they cannot give. Now you can check here. Now see root user. Every day I can log in as a root user. I can have unrestricted access. IAM users, as a root user, you can create IAM users. You can give the privileges. So you can only access EC2 instances. You can only access EBS. So you can only access some other privileges. So like that, as a IAM user, as a root user, you can assign so some privileges to the normal users. Here we are going to discuss how to create IAM groups, how to create IAM users, how to give the privileges. Means here we are calling as a policies to the particular users and multi-factor authentication. This is two-way authentication. For example, you can take your, for example, ICICI Bank or SB any bank. So we are doing online money transactions. So you are sending money. So when you are sending money, so you are going to log into your ICICI authentication by using your username and password. Even if you give your username and password also, when you are transferring the money, it will ask you one-time password. So immediately it will send a please provide OTP, one-time password. Then again you are giving the authentication. This is two-way. So even if you give your original username and password, every day you are logging to that username and password only, even that it will send a authentication code that is called multi-factor authentication. If the IAM users, so I given one username and password, even they can log in by using that username and password also, they can get the authentication codes. So they can there is a special device is there, a multi-code authentication device like pen drive. So we can provide one device to the users. So whenever they are logging to the servers, whenever they are logging to the management console, so even if they give uh, username and password also, so they have to receive the code they have to provide. In each login, the code will change. They have to give the special authentication codes. That is not, that is nothing but a multi-factor authentications. So how we are going to configure the normal users, the normal groups, how to assign the administrator privileges to the users, we are going to discuss in AWS identity and access management. Next, Amazon S3. So Amazon S3 also a storage. So EBS also a storage, elastic block store, simple storage service. So what is the difference between EBS and S3? EBS is a block level storage. So already I told you, you bought a laptop by default, we have a disk that is not a, that disk is not formatted state, that is a new disk, that is block level. So while installing, you formatted. So that is once you formatted, that comes as a file level, means file system level. Like I have D drive is there. So see, go to my computer. I have a E drive, D drive is there. Right click, share with. So I can share this one. So I can share this one to whom I want to share this folder E drive. So how many users can access? So 20 users can access. I can share it. So this is object level storing, means file system level storing. Already formatted disk I am sharing. So somebody they can store their data in my folder. Like that in cloud environment. So you can keep your data. You can upload your data like videos, audios, like you can also, even you can also host your website, your own website you can host on Amazon S3 background without having any operating system. For example, I want to configure a website. I need Windows Server or Linux server because our operating system is required to deploy my website. So I can install Linux, I can configure Apache web server, I can set up website. If you are working with Windows servers, you can install IIS, Internet Information Service, configure one website. So whenever you want to host your website, you need operating system. But in cloud environment, through Amazon S3 storage, without having background any operating system, directly you can host your website. So serverless websites you can provide. So Amazon S3 is a file level storage. File level means already it is a formatted state. You have to store your files. So introduction to Amazon S3, S3 benefits, use cases. So key features of S3 storage. We have different storage classes are there. So frequently accessed data, infrequently accessed data, and long-lived data. So different storage classes. What are the pricing? So up to 5 GB is free, like some free tier is there. So apart from that, if you cross that limit, they can chargeable. So how much data, how much charge they are going to charge, we are going to discuss here. What is the S3 data size? How to configure website on S3? So everything we are going to discuss in this class, Amazon S3. Next, Amazon Glacier. This is also a type of storage. Amazon Glacier is a secure, durable, and extremely low cost storage service for data archiving. Archiving means like backup. Amazon Glacier is optimized for data that is rarely accessed and a retrieval time of several hours. For example, I have one database server, maybe I have one web server. So infrequently access the data is important, but I am not going to access the data frequently. But when I required, that is important one. When I required, I need that data. So whatever the data which you are not using frequently, the data you have to keep it on Amazon Glacier. So when you require the data, you can take back the data from the Amazon Glacier storage. So for very low cost, you can store your data which is not regularly accessing. So regularly accessed data you can keep on S3 storage classes, frequently accessed data. Whatever the infrequently accessed data is there, you can keep on Amazon Glacier. Now this is a backbone of cloud environment, VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. So VPC enables you to launch AWS resources into virtual network that you have defined, not they are going to define, you have to define. So for example, everybody in cloud computing, thousands of companies, they are deploying their servers on cloud environment. So everybody, they are accessing cloud. So they are putting their servers on the cloud. They are putting their storage on the cloud. They are accessing the network from the cloud. But how do I protect my network? How do I protect my organization? Because by default, everybody enter into the cloud environment. So what I can do, I can set up my own virtual private cloud. So VPC enables you launch AWS resources into a virtual network that you have defined. So as a cloud administrator, I can set up my own VPC network. So private network. So VPC is providing private network. Nobody can enter into your zone because you configured one private cloud. Understanding the default VPC. What are the differences between default VPC and non-default VPC? Default VPC means, for example, I am showing you, log into management console. See, by default, whenever you are launching the instance, for example, see, I'm launching instance, default VPC will come. So you are not configured, I am not configured. But we are launching instance now. See, go to running instances. Launch instance. So select Amazon Linux. Click on select. Now see free tier eligible, configure instant details. Here you can see network VPC 9DD22656 default VPC. Just now I explained you. Default VPC. Understanding the default VPC. Default VPC versus non-default VPC. Non-default VPC means we have to configure VPC. See, in our classes we are going to do that one. So by default VPC will come here. See, no other virtual private clouds are there. Only one that is provided by the Amazon cloud. But we can create our own VPC. See here, create a new VPC. Then I can set up my network, my own cloud network. So this is we are going to see practically in our classes. See subnets, no preference subnet, default subnet. See subnet also default. So default. These are AP South 1A availability zones, AP South 1C, 1B. So what are these availability zones? So I am going to show you. So understand default, by default automatically they will provide VPC. Now what are the availability zones? An availability zone is nothing but a data center. So technically in cloud we are calling as a data center. Hyderabad data center, Chennai data center, Mumbai data center. In Mumbai, we have 3 data centers like that, availability zones. So global infrastructure. So we can have regions and availability zones. So how many regions are there? 24 launched regions are there each with multiple availability zones. So worldwide, AWS having 24 launched regions, different locations. So each region has a data centers. That is nothing but a availability zone. 77 availability zones are there. Now you can see 245 countries and territories are served. 97 direct connected location. 220 plus points of presence. Now see blue color are regions, red color coming soon. Now see regions, AWS Go Cloud US West availability zones are 3. Next, Oregon availability zones 4. Next, see these are the Oregon, Northern California availability zones 3. This is Sao Paulo launched availability zones 3. Canada Central, AWS Cloud US East, Ohio. Now go to Ireland, Europe, so Frankfurt, so London. So these are already launched regions. Orange color are coming soon. Spain coming soon. Switzerland coming soon. Coming to the Hyderabad coming soon. Maybe within 1 month or 2 months they are launching a new region in Hyderabad. Mumbai already is there. Mumbai 3 availability zones. Just now I showed you. AP South 1A, 1B, 1C. 3 availability zones in Mumbai. So availability zone is nothing but a data center. Now check Hyderabad coming soon. The big data centers they are going to start in Hyderabad already. The complete work is completed. Maybe they are going to be launched maybe next month. So there is a huge big data center they are launching Amazon people in Hyderabad. So we can have a number of jobs maybe in this local AWS cloud center. So coming soon Hyderabad they are launching. So these are the uh, Jakarta coming soon, Melbourne coming soon. So this is the global infrastructure. Just you can go for Google, type global infrastructure. So then you can get the complete information of your Amazon. So now coming to our points. So how to set up our subnets, private subnet, public subnet, how to access your private subnet to public subnet. So private subnet means our private critical data servers cannot expose to public servers. It means public network. So when they require to update, then only as a cloud administrator you can give permissions 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. Just you can connect to internet, you can update your server. After that, again you have to disconnect. They cannot access the internet. So these things we are going to configure. So private network we have to configure, public subnet we have to configure. So private and public subnet by default they cannot communicate, but we can make it communicate private and public subnets. But even private subnet can communicate public servers, but they cannot access internet. Then we need a NAT gateways. How to configure NAT gateways? We are going to discuss all the network topologies in here in this class. We are going to discuss. Next, auto scaling. So high availability or incremental or decremental scaling. High availability. For example, you can take a share market morning 9 o'clock to evening 4 o'clock every minute, every second. So many customers, they can log into their online accounts. They can do the sharing, online buying, selling like this. If that type of application down 5 minutes or 10 minutes, crores of rupees will lose. That type of critical applications you have to provide the high availability. There is a high load coming to the particular server, takes the load to another server, redirect the load to another server. So here we can configure auto scaling. Whenever one application is getting more requests, immediately the load will turn to other servers. See, if there is a heavy traffic on the road, the traffic police divert the routes. So go to this route, go to this route, then they will clear the traffic. Like that, if there is a heavy traffic on application server, you can redirect the traffic. So traffic is not heavy, so you can decrease the resources. Incremental, decremental. Elastic load balance, so this is also same like. So elastic load balancing automatically distribute incoming application traffic across multiple targets such as Amazon EC2 instances, containers, IP address and lambda functions. It can handle the load of your application traffic in a single availability zone or across multiple availability zones. Maybe one server I can keep in one data center, another server I can keep in another data center. If there is a heavy load come in one data center, I can redirect the load to another data center. So this thing practically we are going to see all these configurations. So Amazon CloudWatch is nothing but like monitoring tool. So like in Windows, you can check, go to Task Manager, monitoring. So this is monitoring, performance monitoring. So application history monitoring. See CPU resources how much, memory resources how much, utilization capacity, speed capacity, maximum speed, how many sockets, how many cores. So everything I can monitor. Memory monitoring. So disk monitoring, Wi-Fi I am monitoring. How much Wi-Fi throughput, uh, Mbps, how much it is utilizing. See, sending 60, 70, 415 is like this. Receiving capacity, sending capacity. Like everything you can monitor. Bluetooth, Ethernet. Like same in cloud environment, we are going to configure number of services like EC2 services and cloud service, sorry, network services, storage services. So as a cloud administrator, you can configure a monitoring service that is nothing but Amazon CloudWatch. It is a monitoring service to monitor your AWS resources as well as the applications that you run on AWS. How to set up this CloudWatch? But for example, so I can configure one CloudWatch monitoring tool. If my EC2 instance CPU utilization is greater than 70% for 5 minutes, a length of time, shut down, restart, reboot, like that, I can write a trigger. So if this cross this limit, shut down that one. So every service, whatever the AWS resources you can have, you can make it, you can keep it on CloudWatch. Automatically, it will monitor your services. So detailed monitoring is there, and normal monitoring. We are going to discuss what is detailed monitoring. Detailed monitoring every minute, but it is chargeable. So that is CloudWatch. Next to simple notification service is a high available, durable, secure, fully managed pub/sub messaging service. So decouple microservices, distributed systems, and serverless applications. For example, whatever is going, so for example, Amazon CloudWatch is there. Whenever my CPU utilization is greater than 60%, to send a notification to me. When the CPU percentage is less than 30%, send a notification to me. When you launch new instance in auto scaling, send a notification to me. When you terminate an instance, send a notification to me. So that notification service we have to set up. So Route 53 is the DNS server in the cloud. So who are having the knowledge on Windows servers and Linux servers, any computer knowledge, DNS server. So DNS server resolves names to addresses. So domain name system. So because we can have millions of websites. So you cannot remember the websites with numbers, IP addresses. For example, www.flipkart.com is there. I am opening website. For example, I am telling you www.flipkart.com. So I know the name flipkart.com, but I don't know the IP address. But I can access the website. If DNS is down, you cannot access. Sometimes you can see when you are opening the website, if your internet is down, if your DNS server is down, DNS not resolved, DNS probe error will come. And you can type www.yahoo.com. So I don't know the IP address, but I can easily remember with names. Yahoo.com. See, Yahoo website is opening. But background, it works with IP address only. But remembering the IP addresses is very difficult. How I can tell you? Now, connect to your internet, go to your command prompt, type the command nslookup. So www.flipkart.com. So now I can know the IP address. So this is the IP address of Flipkart 163.53.78.110. Now I want to know Yahoo IP address www.yahoo.com. So because of DNS, it resolving name to address. So 202.165.107.50, 202.165.107.49, gmail.com. So any website you can type, it shows the IP address. 142.250.67.69. See, if I give IP address like this, 100 IPs if I given 142, 250, 167, 68, 163, 44, 78, 92, you cannot remember what is the website. But flipkart.com, google.com, yahoo.com, rediff.com, OCJA.com, abc.com, you can easily remember. If there is no DNS, so you cannot access the websites. So how to configure that DNS and cloud environment? That is nothing but a route 53. So it is a DNS server in Amazon cloud environment. So CloudFront is a content delivery network, CDN, simply we can call as a content delivery network, provides a globally distributed network of proxy servers which cache content such as web videos. So simply I will explain. So you are accessing one video, that server is located in Australia. From Australia to India from your laptop, if you are accessing that, it is taking more time. So what they will do, they will configure one CDN server, cloud content delivery network, in nearest place in Asia. So nearest place in Asia may be Singapore. So they can keep one cache server in Singapore. So every time when you are accessing the video, so it is very accessible properly, and the access speed will improve. That is the reason cache servers we are going to configure. That is nothing but a CloudFront. So Elastic Beanstalk. With Elastic Beanstalk, you can quickly deploy and manage applications in the AWS cloud without having to learn about the infrastructure that runs those applications. So you don't know about what is infrastructure, networking, storage, and virtualization. You don't know anything, but you have a application, so you want to deploy it. So by using Elastic Beanstalk, you can deploy that application automatically. Backend, what you require, everything the Amazon will configure. Like it automatically to launch instances depending upon your deployment of application. Automatically, it will provide the Elastic Load Balancer, automatically to provide this auto scaling depending on the requirement. So background, every infrastructure take care by the Amazon cloud. Just you have the application, you can deploy it. Okay, next, simple queue service, messaging queue service. So send messages to all the people, SQS in minutes using the AWS console. So I can configure messages. So these messages sent to this mail, this mail, this mail. So frequently, so sequential order, it will send the messages. So cloud formation is nothing but a template. So whatever the setup you've done on your cloud environment, you can make it one template. The same setup when you require, just you have to deploy it. For example, I installed Linux server. Top of the Linux, I installed SAP application. So it's taken 2 days, 3 days time to set up the SAP application. Now it is ready to use. I can take one copy. Then I can take one copy. So when I want to require the same configuration server, again I am not going to install Linux again. It will take 3 or 4 days time again. So first time when you set up that SAP application server, when it is going to be run properly, I can make it one copy. When I require same server, just I can deploy it within minutes. I can get the new server. Like in cloud also, whatever the setup you done, you can make it one copy. When you require same setup, so you can just deploy it. Next, relation database services, how to run the databases on cloud environment. So NoSQL Server database and the SQL Server databases. So RDS, DynamoDB, this Aurora, these are the database servers we are going to run on the cloud environment. So these are the topics we are going to discuss in our total cloud environment. So first one is launching the EC2 instances. Next, second one, how to add the storage to EC2 instances, elastic block storage. Then how to set up the static IP address to our EC2 instances, our web servers. Then how to create users, how to manage the users. So these are the topics. Amazon S3, Glacier, VPC. So these are the topics. Tomorrow onwards we are going to learn. So tomorrow, introduction to AWS. Then these are the contents, and then introduction to AWS. One small topic is there. Then we are going to discuss about EC2 instances, types of instances, EC2 pricing. So what are the different hardware types we are having in EC2 instances, and on-demand instance, and reserved instances, spot instances. Like we have different types of instances we are going to discuss. So if you have any doubts, please ask me.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Noor, tell me, Noor.
Yeah. What? So EC2 instances. What is it? I missed that part.
So EC2 instance is nothing but operating system. Like, see, this is a VMware workstation. Okay.
Yeah.
Top of the VMware workstation, what we are doing, we are powering on this machine, Linux machine. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, they are calling technically in cloud environment is AWS EC2 instance. It means launching the instance means you are powering on your operating system. Understand?
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
just powering.
how does Linux come to play if EC2 instance is there?
Yeah, Linux instances, Windows instances we have. What you require, you
Also,
can launch.
different varieties. You can pick which one you want to use for cloud.
Yeah, yes, ready to use with softwares also.
Okay. And then they use PuTTY as well.
Putty, we have to log in through Putty. I will show you everything configuration. So you have to generate a private key here. So we can download the PEM file. These are the authorized keys. So we have to download the PEM file. We have to convert into PPK file. Through Putty, we are going to log into EC2 instances. If it is Windows Server, we can log in by using the remote desktop connection. So everything practically we are going to see tomorrow.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. And then what's the duration of this course?
30 days total, 20 to 30 days.
And then we can be prepared. Like, what kind of exact if we with finishing this course, you can become a solutions architecture
Yeah, solutions architect associate.
associate. Okay. And you'll give how you do for Linux. You'll give some plenty of interview questions.
Yes, all the questions and
Awesome.
answers, roles and responsibilities, and the complete configuration document, everything I will provide to you.
How real time works with it. Okay. How what we'll be doing as a job. Okay. We'll be
Yes,
explaining.
yes.
Awesome.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Thank you, Noor.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any questions tomorrow? We are going to start EC2 instances, introduction to AWS, types of EC2 instances, how to launch the instances, how to launch on-demand instance, and purchasing the instances, spot instances. I will differentiate that types. Then we are going to price in 750 hours is free of cost for 1 year free account. 750 hours you can utilize the instances. After 750 hours chargeable. For practicing, it is enough. Our free account we have to create. Tomorrow I will show you how to create the account on AWS Management Console. Then we can do the practical scenarios. Okay, is there any questions?
No, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Noor. You connect down that. Okay, tomorrow we are going to continue the class EC2 instance. We are going to start tomorrow, first chapter. Okay, thank you all.